Hello and good morning. Welcome to First Take as we commemorate Juneteenth. I'm Shea Cornett in for Molly. Markeith Morris is here with us as well. Stephen A. is in Indy, as is Brian Windhorst. And of course, guys, good morning to you all. We begin with the NBA Finals. Indiana looking to force a Game 7 tonight at home, but it all depends, of course, on the health of Tyrese Haliburton. Hallie has been dealing, as we know, with a nagging right leg injury throughout the last few weeks. And then in the first quarter of Game 5, he seemed to worsen it. Had an MRI, it revealed that he is dealing with a calf strain. Currently listed as questionable. Obviously, he wants to play, but Rick Carlisle says he will be a game-time decision. So here's Hallie on being smart with this injury.
I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm gonna do everything in my power to play, and that's just what it is. But I mean, I think the answer to that is dependent on who you ask.
All right, so Stephen A., I'm going to you first here. Hallie only had 4 points in Game 5. He finished without a field goal for the first time in his playoff career. So the question now is, should Rick Carlisle sit Haliburton tonight?
Absolutely not. It's do or die. You're on the brink of elimination. There is no tomorrow. Absolutely, he should play. Make no mistake about that, and give you what he has. Now, if it's not much, like it was in Game 5, if it's that kind of awful, pedestrian, impotent performance, then guess what? You got to pull him. And you got to see that a bit earlier, especially if T.J. McConnell is flowing the way that he has been flowing. And even though most of the onus should fall on Rick Carlisle, that is why you are a Hall of Fame coach. That is why you are champion. You've forgotten more basketball than most people know. You know what the hell you're seeing. And if that calf is straining him to such a degree that it compromises his performance so flagrantly, you've got to be able to yank him. But that's most of the onus falling on Rick Carlisle. What I would say to Tyrese Haliburton is this. You know what you can do when you're healthy. That means you know what you're not doing when you're not healthy. And if you see your teammate flowing like that, there is absolutely positively nothing wrong with you rolling over to the coach and whispering in his ear, TJ is rolling. Big Perk, a champion in this league, was on the air the other night on NBA Countdown. And what did he point out? He pointed it out on First Take as well, that somebody would be rolling, and Doc Rivers would go to KG, and KG would say, Coach, nah, he's rolling right now. Roll with him. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. Now, not showing up for the game, not playing at all, that would be a different scenario. But if you're in the throes of action, if you're in the midst of the game, and you know that you are far from yourself, and you know that you are ineffective, and you see your backup, your teammate, flowing like that, there is absolutely nothing wrong with Tyrese Haliburton looking at Coach Carlisle and saying, TJ's rolling. Roll with him, Coach. There's nothing wrong with that.
Go ahead, Markeith. Go ahead. What do you got?
I agree on this one, right? But I think it's a thing, like I made the point earlier, I think it's a thing before the game, right? I think it's a thing that has to be done the night before or earlier in that day, where you have to ask Haliburton and to see Haliburton, how good are you? How good can you move right now, right? Because you don't want to, and I've been through this before, you don't want to, like, mentally the game is on another level, right? And the mental aspect of watching Haliburton and not knowing what he can give can hurt the team, right? I've been a part of this when I played for the Lakers in 2021 when Anthony Davis had a groin injury and he started the game, right? Us not knowing how much he can really give, we just knowing that he's on the court and we're comfortable with that. But when he went down, it kind of had put a shock through the team because, you know, he's one of our best players. And Haliburton, this is the same type of situation, right? So if I know he's not close to being able to get past somebody, because we know he's not 100%, but if he's not effective in ways that we need him to win, me personally, I wouldn't allow him to play because it will hamper the team mentally in the biggest stage in the NBA.
Wendy, what do you think?
Let's remember that they had an MRI on Tuesday, so they have the information, okay? They know what's in there. And with that information and knowing that if you make a player questionable and call him a game-time decision and then he doesn't play, that player will have to answer that for a while when you're in an elimination game, that people always have a feeling about that. Knowing that, they still listed him as questionable. So I suspect, and look, maybe he woke up today and it's worse, and maybe they'll change the designation during the day. But if he remains a game-time decision, I would expect him to play for those reasons. The question's going to be, obviously, is what can he give? And you know immediately that the Thunder are going to test him. They're going to see how he can move. They're going to put him in pick and roll. They're going to try to make him move north and south, east and west, and test it. And the other thing that the Thunder are going to do is they're going to have a game plan ready for T.J. McConnell. If T.J. McConnell gets boosted minutes tonight because the Haliburton has less time, he's going to maybe face Lou Dort. Now, T.J. McConnell is very crafty, and he has become an expert at playing his game and getting shots off and creating space. But if he is targeted, that's going to be an issue. So what I believe is ultimately going to happen tonight, regardless of how many minutes Haliburton plays, is the other guards are going to have much better performances than they did in Game 5. Andrew Nembhard, he's been really good defensively, but he has not shot the ball well in this series, just 33% from three. He did not play great on the offensive end the other night. Benedict Mathurin, just 2 of 11. He had that amazing Game 3 with 27 points. He has not been good the last 2 games. And they're going to need another good game from Aaron Nesmith as well. It's going to take a collective effort from those other guards, no matter what Haliburton's able to do.
Okay. So Wendy just kind of hit on this, but you should note the Pacers went 0-2 without Haliburton last year's postseason when they were facing the Celtics in Games 3 and 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That is not ideal. So it sounds like even Haliburton said, if I can walk, I'm going to play, which sounds like he's going to play. So if he does, let's just say, now I know he's a game-time decision, he's not going to be 100%. That we've all seen with our own eyes, and we can probably say that with certainty. And so then, and Wendy just alluded to all of this, what needs to be the X factor for Indy to force a Game 7 at home tonight, Stephen A.?
Well, first of all, like Wendy said, somebody else has got to step up. Now, obviously, it's going to be by committee. It's not going to be one individual. Siakam's not going to go out there and drop 50. That's not going to happen. Nesmith is not going to drop 40. That's not going to happen. But they're capable players, and Siakam is a champion. So I could pencil him in for 25 to 30. I believe he can do that tonight. But I'm going to look at Nesmith, and I'm going to say, okay, get him some shots, particularly from the corner. OKC has been vulnerable there from time to time. Make sure you capitalize off of that. Mathurin, I know he's had a bad 2 games, but I'm going to remember the 27 points he dropped in Game 3. I'm going to remember the fact that it was at that field house, okay? By the way, as an aside, sitting here in Indianapolis, this is not usually how I flow, fellas, and Shay, but I got to tell you something right now. OKC is an absolutely fabulous basketball environment. We know how electric it is there. Indiana here, I mean, this Gamebridge, this is special. This is a special, special basketball environment. It's made for basketball. And I even got to give props to the man Pat McAfee getting on the microphone, calling me out for crying out loud, stirring the crowd up. It worked in Game 3. It worked against them in Game 4. But this is a basketball environment. They feed off of this kind of adversity. They're looking for any little ingredient whatsoever to make sure to galvanize them and give them that adrenaline rush so it can propel them. And this is the perfect place for that to happen. A Game 6 tonight on the brink of elimination with OKC knowing they got the security blanket of a Game 7 on their home court. Indiana has to play by committee. You got Mathurin, you got Nesmith, you got Nembhard, you got T.J. McConnell. They all have to play well. T.J. just got to do what he did last game. The rest of them have to play better. Siakam continue to do his thing. But if there was ever an environment where they can do it, an atmosphere where they can do it, it's tonight in Game 6 in Indianapolis. That's why I believe even without Haliburton, this has a chance to go Game 7 because these fans are special. This basketball environment is special. And I think with them being on the brink of elimination, that's only going to elevate things.